Good evening, I'm Ces Oreña-Drilon.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Shawn Yao.
The big stories tonight. Malacanang hits back at Rodrigo Duterte's son Baste over calling President Marcos ungrateful. And while fighting words fly between camps, Marcos Jr.'s very own sister calls for an urgent probe into Digong's arrest.
As for two of Duterte's allies, the Senate will block any attempt from the ICC to arrest Bato de la Rosa if that time comes, while former spokesman and now possible lawyer to Duterte, Harry Roque, is seeking asylum in the Netherlands.
And back here at home, more dubious personalities figure in the recipients list of the Office of the Vice President's confidential funds. Food-themed names like mango and kamote further fuel lawmakers' belief of fund misuse at the OVP.
In the words of this generation, it's FO, or it's friendship way over now for the Marcoses and the Dutertes. The political conflict between the two camps further deepened after the arrest and now detention at the International Criminal Court of former President Rodrigo Duterte. And the word war is getting more intense and rather personal. The big story from Maricel Halili.
Mr. President Marcos, you will never be loved. Especially to us who are calling out Rodrigo Duterte's name. We will stand up and we will fight back. Aside, you're not being loved by the people. All you have is the government's resources and your turn. Beyond that, you are nothing.
Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte is not holding back on the criticism of President Bongbong Marcos. The 88th araw ng Davao celebration over the weekend was more feisty than festive, with the younger Duterte calling the Marcoses ungrateful. After all, he said, it was his father, President Digong, who allowed the burial of the family's patriarch, Marcos Sr., at the libingan ng mga bayani back in November of 2016.
Ang imong amahan, ipalubong sa akong amahan, ang akong amahan, ipapreso nimo.
But Malacanang says Duterte's turn over to the ICC for crimes against humanity was all about upholding the law and not about forgetting a debt of gratitude.
Hindi po dapat na dahil lang kaibigan o dahil naging kasama, hindi na po tutuparin ang batas at tatraidorin na po ang konstitusyon dahil lamang sa utang na loob.
Palace Press Officer Claire Castro assures President Marcos does recognize the favor his predecessor did for his family. In fact, the chief executive's family immediately thanked Duterte for his decision of a hero's resting place for Marcos Sr. Castro, in turn, questioned how the Dutertes reward their allies.
Dahil ba sa sinasabi ito ni Mayor Baste Duterte ng tanong ng utang na loob, ito po ba yung ginamit kaya ng dating Pangulong Duterte nung i-appoint niya ang isang Chinese national na si Michael Yang bilang kanyang economic advisor?
Amid the heated verbal back and forth between the Dutertes and the Marcoses, Undersecretary Castro admits some concern over heightened emotions among supporters of Digong and his family, particularly in Davao. It has not helped that reports of a possible raid of Duterte's home in the city are not dying down. Authorities have since branded the news as fake and assured that there are no plans whatsoever from the government to swoop on the Duterte property. The administration says it again. Duterte supporters are free to express their opinion and their right to peacefully assemble will not be curtailed.
Kapag ka po, nandun na po yung elemento ng inciting to sedition, which is, of course, without any tumultuous uprising, but they are encouraging people to sow hatred to the government, to the president, then we have to step up.
For the government, stepping up means filing charges against people who will go way beyond freedom of expression. For News 5, Maricel Halili, We Are One News.
Meantime, in a manifestation to the Supreme Court, the government's top lawyer has asked to disengage from the writ of habeas corpus petitions filed by the Duterte children. What this means is that the Solicitor General will no longer defend the Marcos administration over the challenge on Digong's arrest last March 11. Solicitor General Menardo Guevara filed a manifestation on Monday, right after the High Court ordered top government officials to respond to the Duterte's petition to bring the former president back home. Guevara maintains that the ICC no longer has jurisdiction to investigate Duterte, since the Philippines has already left the foreign tribunal back in 2019. Guevara served as Duterte's Justice Secretary from 2018 to 2022. And as recent as February, the Solicitor General insisted that the ICC should let the government do its own drug war probe. But in July of last year, Guevara conceded that the ICC prosecutor could directly interview persons of interest. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has vowed to take appropriate action against those spreading fake news about the High Court. Supreme Court spokesperson Attorney Camille Ting denies receiving any petition to remove President Marcos from office. Earlier, 2 Facebook users posted an advisory stating that the High Court received 16 million signatures demanding Marcos's ouster. These users will be subjected to an investigation, along with those who claimed that a temporary restraining order or TRO was issued on March 11 to stop Duterte's flight to The Hague.
How should the ICC issue an arrest warrant against Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa? He will not be arrested inside the premises of the Senate. This is the assurance of Senate President Francis Ces Escudero, who told reporters this morning that preventing such an arrest at the Senate building is part of institutional courtesy.
Hindi nakabase sa batas, pero nakabase sa tinatawag na institutional courtesy. Hindi papayagan ng Senadong arestuhin ang sinumang miyembro niya sa loob ng Senado, lalo na kung merong sesyon. Historically, may sesyon o wala. Again, institutional courtesy dictates na huwag ito pasukin ng kapulisan para may posasang senador. Dalawang bagay ang nangyayari. I-exhaust yung legal remedy o kusang lumalabas yung senador sa Senado.
De la Rosa, for his part, says he will seek Senate protection once the ICC goes after him for his role in Duterte's drug war. The re-electionist senator served as a former president's first police chief who implemented the bloody anti-narcotics campaign.
Another personality seeking protection from his alleged persecutors is former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque. Roque recently surfaced at The Hague with Vice President Sara Duterte and Senator Robin Padilla after months in hiding. He's wanted by the House Quad Committee for skipping POGO hearings and refusing to submit documents related to the inquiry. Roque is being accused of involvement in offshore gaming. Now he is part of the legal team of former President Duterte at the ICC.
Hindi mo ko makukuha dito.
The human rights lawyer has also revealed plans to seek asylum in the Netherlands, but the palace was quick to challenge this.
Aampunin niyo ba ako? Ang hindi alam na mga bangag dito sa Europe, paano walang kapangyarihan mo? Dito sa dahig, ito ang sentro ng karapatang pantao. Net-net mo, hindi mo ko makukuha dito.
Mas maganda po siguro na i-challenge po talaga natin siya, na siya po yung umuwi. Kasi di ba bring home FP Duterte. So siguro mas magandang isigaw po rin ng mga tao, bring home Roque.
In an interview with Morning Matters host Gretchen Ho, Roque says he needs to stay in The Hague not for himself or as a way to dodge prosecution, but for Mr. Duterte.
I cannot come home. I have to defend my president. as a member of the List Council of the ICC at The Hague.
Attorney, paano po kung mag-file ng extradition request ang Pilipinas para kayo po ay mapauwi?
Well, I'm formally announcing I'm filing formally for asylum here at the Netherlands. I am confident that I can prove political persecution through unjust prosecution ng Huwad Committee.
And to give us more updates on this story, we have our Gretchen Ho reporting to us live from The Hague. Hi, Gretchen. What's the atmosphere been like? Well, a whole weekend has passed since Duterte's initial proceedings at the ICC.
Ces, Pauline, and Shawn, a good evening to you. A good noon from The Hague in Netherlands. The atmosphere has been quite a lot of waiting. There's a lot of waiting happening here for decisions to be made, for the ICC to respond, for the Duterte camp to tell us about what their next moves are. But certainly, we did not have to wait so long to talk to Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea, who just came out of the ICC detention center after his meeting with the former president. And he has confirmed with us that the former president has signed the conforme, making Attorney Nicholas Kaufman a lawyer or a legal counsel for the Duterte camp. We are not clear if he will be the lead counsel, though. When we asked about the other lawyers, what he said was, hindi pa niya alam kung sinong magaling. It looks like they are looking to beef up that roster, but other names that have been mentioned are, of course, Attorney Harry Roque. That's the Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea himself, who is the recognized legal counsel as of today or as of now. And the last one would be the Vice President herself, who has been seeking to be part of this legal team in order to have unimpeded access to the former president. So she wants to be able to meet with him when it's not recorded. Kasi pag lawyer ang kausap, you cannot record. And also, he has the rights to see his lawyer. So that's a team of 4. But with the tone of Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea, it seemed that they are still looking for other lawyers to beef up their defense. Outside here, we also got to talk to Senator Robin Padilla, who has been hanging around and waiting for the Executive Secretary to finish his meeting. And he has been waiting to visit the former president himself. Nang tanongin natin what is his basis, he says that in the sheet of rules and regulations, he is a political ally, and a political ally is allowed to visit any detainee. So he has yet to receive word on that, but when asked how long he'll stay out here, he said probably a week or more. And tinanong din natin, what about his duties over in the Philippines? He is a sitting senator. Sabi niya, break naman daw sila. So pwede siya ngayon dito. And as president of PDP Laban, he needs to ask the former President Rodrigo Duterte on what the next moves are, what the strategies are. He is their #1 figure. People come to their rallies to see him. He is the #1 campaigner. And now they're left headless as of this moment. So he needs to be able to talk to the former president right in the middle of a midterm election campaign season.
Mm-hmm. Gretchen, we understand that the former Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea is, you said that is currently meeting. Do you have any updates on that?
Right after they finished the meeting with the former president, umalis na si ES Medialdea at sinabi ni Attorney Harry Roque kanina that they will huddle in. They will meet all together with the Vice President Sara Duterte. Attorney Nicholas Kaufman is already here, arrived last night with the Executive Secretary himself. With as of what we know, yung iba pang mga kasama nila. Pero paulit-ulit na sinasabi ni Attorney Harry Roque that they are thinned out here. They do not have, first of all, a base. So they're working to rent an Airbnb where they can do press cons regularly. They're looking to inform everybody at least twice a day of what's been happening to avoid fake news. But when it comes to the legal decisions, hindi pa tayo sinagot ni ES Medialdea. Yun lang yung isang sinabi niya na nakapirma na si Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte dun sa conforme na inaantay natin mula kanina pa. Kasi that conforme will verify the decisions of the former president on who he wants to represent him as defense.
So kasama na doon si Attorney Roque. Hindi malinaw si...
Hindi niya kinonfirm. Hindi niya kinonfirm.
Oo
Isang
nga
pangalan lang.
Hindi
Si Attorney
malinaw
Nicholas Kaufman.
Okay.
Si Attorney Nicholas Kaufman lang. Looks like the others are not final. Kahit siya mismo. So, yun nga, no, sabi niya, hindi pa namin sigurado kung sinong magaling. Yun lang ang sinabi niya about that. But si Kaufman lang ang kinonfirm niya so far.
Okay. Issue ba yung pagiging pugante ni former spokesperson Roque? Will that
Tatanungin
be
din natin yan kung issue yan. Kasi yun din ang isa sa mga nasa isipan ng mga tao if this could be a hindrance. But he does need to get approval from the ICC to be official counsel. And right after the press con this morning, he already went to file asylum with the Commission on Immigration and Deportation, or the INS as they call it here. And sabi niya na hindi naman malamang ay magtatagumpay siya dyan sa kanyang pag-file ng asylum because The Hague is the center of human rights, and what they did over at the House was unjust prosecution because the arrest warrant served was indefinite and there's no bail. So sabi niya, this is tantamount to political persecution, and he's confident that he will be able to get that asylum. But we have yet to get clarity on his legal status, if he is actually allowed to represent the president with all of these issues in the fray.
Hi, Gretch. Gretch, I was wondering, I caught the press con via Zoom of Attorney Harry Roque earlier today, and you were there as well. You guys were asking about the accessibility, no? So sinasabi nga niya na yun nga, pag family member pala, nire-record, even with the approved counsel, which at this moment is only former ES Medialdea, it's limited to 1 hour. So is it really that hard to access the former president inside the detention center? At do we expect na magpapatuloy itong ganitong, yung bagay, very procedural siya. You have to email before, wait for the approval, before you can do anything?
That's right, Shawn. As we've seen on social media, they're very clinical about things here, procedural, bureaucratic. You have to send an email to get an approval for every step. And the reason why the vice president is applying to be legal counsel of the former president is because she does not want to send an email every single day. So if you are an accredited lawyer or defense of the former president, you don't have to apply for that anymore. And speaking of the visitation hours, they've been telling us 1 hour lang talaga yung inaalat. No? Napakaikli ng panahon. Kahit nga nung Friday, nung nakita si VP Sara at si PRRD, hindi niya napapirma ng konforme. Mukhang today lang nakapagpapirma ng konforme. Pero bago ka actually makapasok to visit the former president, ang dami pang dadaan ng procedures. Kaya medyo late na lumabas si ES, kahit nasabi niya 9 o'clock yung meeting, mga 11:30 na siya lumabas. So you can just imagine how much procedures went in there. And even us, when we covered the pre-trial or the initial hearings last Friday, we had to send emails. Not everybody was accredited. And kahit doon sa loob, meron kaming dalang cellphone, pinatago talaga yung cellphone ko doon sa bag. Tapos doon sa media center, doon ka lang pwedeng gumamit. Pagbaba mo, bawal ka nang gumamit. And doon sa gallery area where the hearing is going, no phones, just a pen and paper you can bring inside. So talagang mahigpit kahit nga nagre-record tayo dyan sa labas, no, pinapaalis tayo, even camera. So it's a very different atmosphere around here, not the same as our situation in the Philippines, where we can immediately interview resource persons, where we can get clips of what's happening inside. Dito, they are tight-lipped. They are very private, and they make sure that everything goes through protocol.
Quick follow-up lang, Gretch. Would you know if ganito talaga yung SIST dyan? Meaning kahit na established na meron na siyang legal team, si former President Digong, ganun pa rin, tig-isang oras per day lang talaga yung i-allow na pang meeting time, kumbaga.
Shawn, we have yet to get a hold of that document that talks about the details of who can visit and how they can visit. So we were talking to Senator Robin Padilla, who gave us a little bit of his time, sinabi nga niya that political allies nandoon sa listahan na yun. Bukod sa family member, bukod sa legal counsel, pero hindi pa natin nakikita yung document na yun. So hopefully we can get a hold of that to get more clarity on who can visit. But it seems that the Duterte camp is also trying to figure things out on their own. Yun lang yung nalalaman natin sa ngayon. No? We have to ask more questions about that. But doon sa website kasi ng ICC, very vague yung nilagay nila. Nakalagay lang doon, they are entitled or detainees are entitled to visitation rights. And wala nang ibang nakalagay. So that document, I guess, comes from the ICC and will be sent to the persons involved.
Well, Gretch, nabanggit mo nga rin, no, that the Vice President is also working to be part of her father's legal team. I mean, yes, she is a lawyer, but if her purpose or if her aim is to just gain unimpeded access dito nga sa kanyang ama na si former President Duterte, I mean, does that raise any concerns with the compliance dun sa rules ng ICC about legal representation? Malinaw ba kung if she will also be working on the defense case nito nga si Mr. Duterte?
Attorney Harry Roque reiterated a while ago that the reason why the vice president is applying to be part of the legal counsel of the former president is because she just wants to be able to get access to him. Yun lang talaga yung pinaka-purpose nun. And it is the vice president assembling this legal defense team. She is the one on top of that. She is the one in charge, I guess, as the daughter and next of kin of the former president. Siya talaga yung pinaka decision maker dito that you know tries to get everybody together. As to being able to prepare a defense if she will actively participate, she says once that she is able to assemble this team, she will already go home to the Philippines as her father has pleaded her to already go back to the country. Mag-uusap lang daw sila digitally and may papalit sa kanya dito na next of kin. And when it comes to the requirements of the legal team, ang sabi ni Attorney Harry Roque, they don't really require an ICC accreditation, but the ICC does supply a list of lawyers that they can get the services of, who are competent in international law, because international law in the ICC is a subspecialty. So meron ka ng specialty, meron pang subspecialty, and it makes sense to actually get from this pool of lawyers to get your best defense possible.
And Gretchen, do you have any updates on the health condition of Mr. Duterte? Last Friday, nabanggit nga ni ES Medialdea na debilitating ang medical condition ni former president. So is that still the case? Because nung Friday, nung initial appearance, diba, we saw the president just virtually stuttering and looking weak.
We asked Attorney Harry Roque how the medical condition of the former president is, and he refused to answer. He invoked the right to privacy over what is the real medical state of the former president. But he did mention that they were able to bring in medicines inside that he lacked. So medicines, kasi in the absence of his actual meds, they were able to use meds provided by the health center of the ICC inside. So, meron yung medicine niya, tapos yung tsinelas, yung pajama, ayun ang naipasok nila. Tapos nagre-request daw si dating Pangulo ng kanin. So, I think yun din ang nabigay na nila sa loob, no? Hindi natin alam kung ano talaga yung tunay na lagay ng kanyang kalusugan. We could only guess as much and get as much as they tell us. But when it comes to health provisions inside, they do have a full medical care. They have staff to take care of the former president. That is what the ICC pre-trial chamber actually told them. And tinanong natin si Attorney Harry kung ano nga ba talaga. Kasi sinabi naman nung doktor ng ICC that he is fit. Sabi ni Attorney Roque, let me correct you there, he is fit to attend a video conference or via video link, but not in person. So that's what he said. But yun nga, no, they are also, when you take a look at the rules, pagdating sa pagkain, they adjust or they will adjust to the detainee according to his cultural preference of what he wants to eat, and they also allow him and his team to buy food preferred for inside.
Perhaps, Gretchen, the media can get updates from the ICC, request updates from the ICC to confirm the health status of the former president.
Correct.
Instead of just,
We'll get to that.
getting it from his camp so that we are able to check on the facts. So thank you so much. That was Gretchen Ho, host of One News Morning Matters.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but coming up next, House Deputy Majority Leader Paulo Ortega has revealed more names of alleged recipients of the OVP's confidential funds. We'll speak to Congressman Ortega next. Keep it here on One News.
You're watching The Big Story here on One News.
The list of dubious recipients linked to Vice President Sara Duterte's confidential fund keeps growing. House Deputy Majority Leader Paulo Ortega revealed new names, including a so-called Dodong Gang and individuals named Jay Camote and Miggy Mango. Ortega said at least 5 people named Dodong were listed as OVP budget signatories. Meanwhile, Jay Camote and Miggy Mango raised further suspicion due to their unusual names resembling food items. These add to previously flagged names such as Mary Grace Piatos and Xiaomi Ocho, whose identities still remain unverified. The Philippine Statistics Authority confirmed that many of these names have no official records.
O, di ba? Parami ng parami. Pa-creative ng pa-creative. Nung una, nag-umpisa sa pangalan ng mga chips saka chicheria. O, di ba? Chips na nga, ninakaw pa nila. So, nakakalungkot na ganito, no? Parang talagang sadyang inaabuso yung sistema.
The impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte is set to begin in July after President Bongbong Marcos's 4th State of the Nation address.
And we now bring in House Deputy Majority Leader Paulo Ortega, who first revealed these questionable fund recipients. Representative Ortega, thank you for joining us here on The Big Story.
Thank you. Thank you and good evening.
First question, has there been any effort to verify their identities and what have you found so far? How intense is your effort to verify?
Definitely, we have started this, ma'am, during the hearings. I can say without any hesitation that most of the 1,000 names in the list are probably as fictitious as the Dodong Gang and Jay Camote, Miggy Mango, and the Piatos family as well. So we are very much confident with the results that, again, yung mga resulta po nila is they're indeed they don't have the documents to back up these names. So it speaks for itself already.
So you didn't, just to confirm, Congressman Paulo, you didn't actually try to look for these people and tumigil na to sa lumabas yung listahan because some people are saying no, these are confidential funds and these could be code names and there could be a master list somewhere out there. We know this has gone unresolved.
Yeah, it has gone unresolved kasi most of the time we've been waiting since the hearings for them to prove us wrong, or even the records won't will actually bear them out. Pero at this point, para po talagang nagiging katawanan na nga po tong mga listahan na to. So again, during the budget briefings, during the hearings, this was the main issue that was not even answered or resolved. So again, it just makes the point stronger. But again, this is Article 2 of the impeachment po. So we are quite confident about this.
And what are you doing behind the scenes, Congressman Ortega? Because it would seem every week naglalabas kayo ng a certain short list of quote-unquote funny names. No? Last week it was yung Xiaomi Ocho nga. And then this week itong food, mga mango, kamote. What are you guys doing behind the scenes? Is this all your preps na for impeachment? Tsaka doon ba lumalabas itong mga pangalan?
Well, we are not part of the prosecution, but as part of the Congress, alam naman po natin na the young guns were we're the ones, most of the time we were the talking heads. Kami po yung nag-a-address ng issues sa media. But a group na nakatutok po dun sa mga problema pong ganito, yung mga naging resulta po ng mga hearings. But again, we won't come out with fictitious names pag hindi po verified. Siyempre, mas maganda po na may due diligence din po sa part na yun.
And I'm curious, Congressman, because when you first unearthed these fictitious names, these dubious names, you also questioned the handwriting, di ba? Doon pa lang sa Mary Grace Piatos, there were some similarities with other fictitious names. Dito po naman kay Jay Camote and Miggy Mango and all those other Dodong names, na-question din po ba yung handwriting? Were there any similarities there as well?
Well, so the similar names suspiciously have similar handwriting. And we even questioned the marker or the ink that was used sa mga pen po na ginamit, no. But again, hindi nga po nasagot most of the questions na to. Actually, it was Congressman Romy Acop who made the big reveal about asking who is Mary Grace Piatos. Then parang snowball effect na po. Then as per verification, more names were coming out. And parang yung total list nga na 1,000 plus.
Congressman, have any persons perhaps responsible for this list, you cited similar handwriting, come forward? Or have there been attempts to go find who's behind making up these names?
Well, there was one instance, ma'am, I forgot the name of the resource person, that parang sinabi po nila na yung pen po, the pen that they were using was a pen purchased in Japan. So parang there similar ink or the similar, I don't know the technical term, but parang doon po nabibili yung ballpen na yun, parang something like that.
So that's just the lead. You haven't gone down to.
As far as the hearings are concerned, parang it was left at that. Then again, this will only make the case stronger for the article with regards to the confidential fund.
Okay, we're just wondering, no, Congressman, kasi it would seem like yes, we are digging up these names. Quite obviously, it's either they're made up, I suppose, or they could be code names, I suppose. Either way, it could work, right? So parang, kumbaga, nagtataka kami, are you working really, really hard to get down to the bottom of this list? How is that investigation going? Bilang wala namang mga follow-up hearings, kumbaga, na nate-televise recently. So we're a bit out of touch and we only get news from your press cons.
Well, the names were previously submitted to the national statistics. So, unti-unti po naglalabasan and mahirap naman po, sabi ko nga, mahirap naman po mag-assume na lahat po ito ay fictitious, pero the way it's going, parang papunta na nga po doon. But as far as the hearings are concerned, we are scheduling 2 hearings this week. But we are still waiting for the final notice. One for the Quadcom and one for the Tricom.
Well, Congressman, VP Sara Duterte has maintained that she cannot disclose the identities of these persons, these names, because it could compromise intelligence operations. For you, Congressman, I mean, does that justification hold, lalo na pag nagsimula na ang impeachment trial after the President's State of the Nation address?
Well, she has been saying that in outside interviews, in informal events, but she has never straightly tackled it, or she has never answered it during the hearing. So the hearings were drama infused. Ang hirap naman po na parang puro emotions po yung pinairal during the hearing. So the answers that we were trying to get were not even answered properly. So, again, meron na po tayong impeachment and ebidensya na po laban sa ebidensya.
I guess the question, sir, is malakas po ba ang ebidensya bukod dito sa mga pangalan na we were not really sure kung code name baka pwedeng code name. So malakas po bang ebidensyang pinanghahawakan ninyo because the trial, well, the date is fast approaching?
Well, on my end, malakas po talaga kasi iwas na iwas po sila sa mga topics na yan during the hearing. So, paano papakuya sa impeachment court? Again, sila po ang kailangan magpatunay na kung paano po yung takbo ng paper trail niyan, yung intricacy po ng code names, yung intricacy po ng procedure.
Okay.
And
also on the other side of the coin, if I may, Congressman, well, you know, it was Congress that gave these intelligence funds to the Vice President. Kayo rin pong nagbigay.
Kongreso pong nagbigay, pero yun nga po, yung kung paano po ginamit, doon po yung concern namin. That's why we had the legislative inquiry. At yun nga po, during the hearings, napaglaalaman po natin na hindi po nagagamit ng maayos. At kung sino-sinong pangalan po ang ginamit nila to disperse this fund.
And in connection to Ces's question, no, syempre usap-usapan na rin since those series of hearings na baka nga tanggalan na lang ng confidential funds, no, yung mga civilian agencies. That has been one of the, I guess, more prominent suggestions para matigil na ito once and for all.
The root of the evil.
Are you guys seriously talking about doing that, right?
Definitely, yung concentration now po is nandyan na po sa mga issues natin ngayon. Pero again, if the Congress finds out about irregularities, yung mga mali po na pagka-disburse ng pondos, and I think that the Congress will do the right thing. And kahit naman pong anong ahensya, especially during the budget hearing po, no, pag hindi nagagamit ng tama, yung burn rate po hindi na i-utilize ng maayos, then the Congress can slash, the Congress can remove, or even add additional funding.
So for now, you're not talking about doing that ASAP?
Naka-ano po tayo, naka-break po yung Congress. But before, during the hearings, well, sabi ko, kailangan natin I mean, it's not just one decision. It's a decision of the entire majority and parts of Congress. So, napag-uusapan na kailangan i-assess talaga yung mga pondo, lalo po sa mga nangyayari na ganito.
Congressman, as Majority Leader, may we get your opinion on the call for President Marcos to rejoin the ICC?
In a previous statement po, during the press con, I really answered that already. I was even, sabi ko nga, we should really consider joining the ICC para, kasi nga po, itong nangyari po sa ngayon, measuring stick po to eh. It's really another.
Do your party mates share the same opinion as you?
I cannot speak for the party, but I can only speak for myself.
But what about the sentiment? I'm sure you're getting a reading of how the others.
Well, some congressmen have stated their opinions on this, and actually, even Congresswoman Geraldine Roman answered that we should really consider joining already during her press con. But again, it's still a consensus, and siguro po, for me, I would like to consider na dapat bumalik po tayo sa ICC.
And Congressman, I wanted to get your reaction on the resurfacing of former PALA spokesperson Harry Roque in the Netherlands. I mean, he did say he plans to seek political asylum in the Netherlands in light of the warrant that has been issued by him by the House. Anong reaction niyo po doon, Kong?
Well, we all know he's an ally, and yun nga po, he's been very critical of the administration. He's been very critical of Congress. Actually, hindi na nga po siya nagpakita after 2 hearings. Alam naman po natin na meron siyang contempt order sa Congress po. So, I think that's a personal and as well as political move for him to do that. So, diskarte po talaga niya siguro yun.
Final question from me, Congressman. I do catch your press cons, and I was wondering do you believe, na gumagana yung justice system natin dito sa Pilipinas or hindi, in your opinion?
gumagana po ang justice system natin. Pero yun nga po, meron nga pong mga bagay na kailangan po siguro na kailangan aktuhan, na medyo mabagal po yung takbo sa mga ibang parts po ng ating hustisya. And yun nga po, may naghain naman po kasi ng kaso. Someone filed the case and ICC made the move. So again, this is the birth of the 7-year case that was filed against the former president.
All right, that will have to be it for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, House Deputy Majority Leader Paulo Ortega.
All right, time to pause for another quick break, but right after that, Senator Jaime Marcos calls for an investigation into the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte. More on the story when we return. Keep it here. Welcome back. Thanks for sticking around with us here on The Big Story.
Senator Jaime Marcos is calling for an investigation into the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte. In a social media post, Marcos, who chairs the Senate Committee on Foreign Relations, said the probe aims to determine whether, quote, due process was followed. She also wants to find out if Duterte's legal rights were not just upheld, but protected. The presidential sister earlier called Duterte's arrest unacceptable. In protest, she even skipped the Alianza rally in Tacloban last week. Jaime, who is seeking re-election under her brother's slate, has been trying to douse tensions between the Marcos and Duterte camps for months. She even called Vice President Sara Duterte a friend and opposed her impeachment. But former Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Sal Panelo is not buying Jaime's call for a probe and called it a mere publicity stunt for her campaign. Panelo has also questioned the ICC's arrest warrant once again.
The Office of the Solicitor General is recusing itself to perform a duty mandated by law for the reason that it contradicts the official position of that agency. At ang ibig pang sabihin nito, it admits that talagang ang ICC ay walang jurisdiction at hindi sila maaaring kumontra sa kanilang posisyon. Mulat sa poll, sinasabi na nga namin na wala kayong jurisdiction kasi yung batas na lumikha sa inyo never saw the light of day kasi nga hindi nalathala sa official gazette. Kaya wala na kayo from the very start jurisdiction. At kung meron mang jurisdiction dahil nagkaroon ng tratado, ipagpalagay na natin, wala pa rin yung jurisdiction dahil umatras na, umaklas na.
Can former President Rodrigo Duterte be released before his September 23 confirmation of charges hearing? One expert says there's a slim chance that will happen. ICC-accredited lawyer Joel Butuyan believes ICC judges will deny any petition from Duterte for an interim release. Butuyan explains not even the former president's age of 80 years old on March 28, nor his supposed declining health will prompt the tribunal to temporarily free him. Now, the only way to bring Duterte back home is an acquittal.
I don't see any such recourse, no, because the only way that he can get out on an interim basis would be through a decision of the ICC judges, no? And the only way that this case can be dismissed would be also through the decision of the ICC judges. And the intervention of any court, short of an invasion of The Hague, I think is very remote. It's never a consideration, the age, no? In fact, if you look at the ages of the other 5 who are his co-detainees now, they're actually about the same ages, no? So it's not going to be a factor. There's no such thing as humanitarian release.
We have some bit of good news, especially since the big story is always watching over EDSA.
Yes, that's true.
In other news, Transportation Secretary Vince Dizon instructs the MRT to extend its operating hours by at least 1 hour. In a Facebook post, Dizon also directed the MRT3 management to deploy additional trains during peak hours. The newly minted transportation chief hopped aboard the train line this morning, inspecting southbound stations that include Shaw, Boulevard, Ayala Avenue, and Taft. MRT3, which runs along EDSA from North Avenue to Taft, is one of the busiest train lines in Metro Manila. Over 135 million passengers take the train annually. I thought that number was too big.
Per day? Like,
yeah.
Biglang binilang ni Ces. Ilan ba yung bagon ng MRT? Okay, I'll take your good news and one up you, because we want to end this show with some good news for Catholics worldwide. Our big picture tonight is Pope Francis's first ever photo since his hospitalization back in February 14. Now, this image released by the Holy See press office was taken on Sunday morning, showing the pontiff seated on a wheelchair looking at a crucifix. He co-celebrated Holy Mass in the private chapel of Gemelli Hospital. The Vatican says this has been part of the Pope's daily routine since his condition improved. But despite the gradual improvement of the pontiff's health, his medical condition remains complex. The Pope continues to receive respiratory and physical therapy.
You definitely
one up your good news.
Yes, I concede.
Since competitive tayo, dagdagan natin ng isa pa before we say goodbye. May oil price rollback ulit tomorrow.
Okay. That's good news.
That's good news.
Kapapakarga ko lang ng gasolina.
Oh no, that's bad news.
Always check. Always check.
Always never do it before Tuesday.
Yeah.
Kasi doon nag-a-announce. On that happy three good news combo.
They always come in threes.
They always come in threes. Good news and bad. But that's it for the big story on this Monday night. Simula pa lang ng week.
Nako, may nami-miss ka.
Ano yun?
Yung turnover na.
Turnover natin.
Sorry.
We won't have that first for the next few days. But thank you for tuning in. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for watching. Good night.